It's a very good afternoon, and welcome back to the Pierre Werner Cricket Ground here in the commune of Valfredange, Luxembourg. We are about 15 minutes away from the start of the final game of this tournament, and it's going to be Luxembourg versus Belgium. So before we get going, we can already give you a few updates. Belgium decided to win the toss, or they didn't decide, but they won the toss. And they decided to bat. So Belgium will be batting first. Luxembourg are currently in the field, doing some bowling drills and fielding drills that you can probably see. So let me go through the team news with you. There's a few changes. So Luxembourg, Joost Mays will be captaining and keeping. James Barker, Scott Brown, Tony Whiteman, Mohit Dixit, Vikram Vij, Shamik Vats, who's going to be making his debut this tournament, very fine bowler. William Cope, Marcus Cope, Saranch Kulshrethra, and Reinhard Hines. 12th man will be Pankaj Malav. So that is the Luxembourg 11. And now let me move on to the Belgian 11. So we have Sherry Butt, who will be captaining. Nemish Mehta will be the vice captain. And in a slight change, Cheryl Mehta will be the wicketkeeper. Mamoon Latif, Wahidullah Usmani, Murad Ekrami, Zakir Seba, Ashikala Saeed, Sazad Hossan, Mohammed Munib, and Khalid Al-Mahdi with Raja Saklain, the 12th man. So the big news for Belgium is that their keeper, Jamil Musayad, is going to be not playing in this game, and instead Cheryl Mehta will be keeping for Belgium. So just to recap, Belgium won the toss and have elected to bat first, and the commentary will continue around 5 minutes before play. So once again, it's a very welcome back to the Pierre Werner Cricket Ground. And just to update you, we've got about 5 minutes to go before the action will start. And Belgium won the toss and decided to bat first. So a bit of team news for you, because the teams are slightly changed from both Luxembourg and Belgium. The Luxembourg side is going to be skippered by Joost Mees, who will also be the wicketkeeper. James Barker, Scott Brown, Tony Whiteman, Mohit Dixit, Vikram Vij, Shamik Vats making his debut for Luxembourg in this tournament. He's a very nice outswing bowler. William Cope, brother Marcus Cope, Saransh Kulshrethler, and Reinhard Heinz. The Belgian lineup is going to be led by Sherry Butt, and Nemesh Mehta will be the vice-captain. In a slight change, Jamil Musayab will not be playing, and instead Cheryl Mehta is the wicketkeeper. Mamoon Latif, Wahidullah Usmani, Murad Ekrami, Zakil Saber, Ashiala Saeed, Sazad Hossan, Mohammed Manib, and Khalid Ahmadi will be the starting 11 for Belgium. So we're minutes away, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And you can see Ben Lockheed just testing his equipment, making sure everything's ready to go to start this Belgian innings. It's going to be the final game of this tournament, and it's Belgium versus Luxembourg. It's Belgium have already run this tournament. They beat the Czech Republic this morning very convincingly. There was some excellent batting from Usmani, who batted very well, ably supported by Zakil Saber. And Khalid Ahmadi came in with some fireworks at the end to help Belgium achieve a total of 161. And the Czech Republic never really looked in the reckoning. They were subdued by a very strong Belgian bowling attack, and in the end lost by well over 100 runs. So the sun has just gone hidden behind a cloud, but we've got the two umpires, Adrian van den Dries and Ben Lockheed, who are just waiting to go onto the pitch, new ball in hand. And we can now welcome Ben Lockheed and Adrian van den Dries onto the pitch as they walk out to officiate this game, and they're quickly followed by the Luxembourg 11, led out by skipper Joost Mees. So we'll see who Luxembourg is going to give the new ball to. And it looks like William Cope has been given the new ball, and we've got Luxembourg who's going to be starting to open up. So William Cope will be opening the bowling. He's being given responsibility for the new ball. And the opening batsman, we have got Cheryl Mehta, who is going to be keeping. And we've also got the normal opener, Mohammed Manib. So we've got two. Manib will be facing the first ball for Belgium. And as ever, the first 6 overs of a T20 is a power play. So that only means that 2 players are outside the ring. And for Luxembourg, we've got a deep mid-off, which is Scott Brown, and a deep mid-on, which is Reinhard Heinz. So they're the 2 players that are outside the circle, as Ben Lockheed is just making sure there's 11 fielders on the pitch, no more, no less. Signals to his colleague and calls play as William Cope now comes in to start the innings. And a fantastic opening ball. It's enticed a shot from Meta, who played a missed and went through to wicketkeeper and captain Joost Mays. And that is actually prompted an attacking move from skipper, who's brought up third man, who's on the one, into a slip. He must have seen some early movement there from Cope. And that's a big appeal. The ball swinging in, and he's been given. The finger's been raised, and Luxembourg have struck early. Second ball. William Cope grabs Meta LBW for naught.
I would say good use of the new ball, just swinging into the left-hander.
So we think that was Munib Mohammed that was out. Mohammed Munib that was out. So a fantastic early start there from Luxembourg. That's going to G them up. And Cheryl Meta has now come to the crease to join Sazad Hossein, who will be batting with him. So here we go, William Cope. Again, nice bit of a way swing, and Meta just let that one go through to Joost Mays. And again, third man as well is now up into slip. Slightly more attacking from Luxembourg. And again, fantastic bowling from Will Cope, really on the money. And nothing that Meta could have done there apart from show the maker's name and just tap it back to the bowler, William Cope, who's really got Luxembourg off to a flying start here in their final game. Again, fantastic bowling, metronome. Just relentless with that line and length. And
the good thing is we have a crowd in as well, watching the game.
There is really starting to fill up as William Cope again bowls just more on the leg side there, but you can see the swing that he's generating. Nice away swing, and that's a fantastic first over for Luxembourg. Like the first game, after the first over, we're 1 wicket, 1 run. So Belgium are mirroring exactly what they did in the first game against the Czech Republic. And Luxembourg have come out the blocks very strong.
So it looks like Saransh will open the bowling from the other end. Fitzgerald, bridge end.
Absolutely, you're spot on. It is Saransh, and the two players that are outside the circle are a deep mid wicket where James Barker is prowling down there. And we have a deep mid on where William Cope, having bowled the first over, has gone all the way down there to field. He's a fine boundary fielder. Saransh now rocks in for his first ball, but that's slapped through the offside. And Marcus Cope in chase, picks it up, and it's just the two.
there. So Belgian batsman Meta taking guard. Having a look around, seeing where the fieldsmen are. Down into the leg side for another dot ball. Slightly quicker one there from Saranch, and it's a little bit too short, and that one's pulled nicely for 4 runs.
This is the thing at T20 that the batsmen are well prepared, and any loosener there, they will capitalize on it. We just saw there. So you have to be on the money all the time.
It's a little bit more offside, so it's just played out to mid-on. That one's a little bit wider, just past the outside edge, and it's a dot ball to end the over. 1 after the second over. You'd with the final scores that Belgium tend to score in this competition, you say that's a slow start, but at the same time, they've done that in almost every match so far.
Yeah, that's right, because we were looking at the game before, and we thought the Czechs had them, even 5 wickets down for 80 runs, but then they let loose and scored 161.
For his second over. And the batsman leaves that one alone. Nice probing line there.
Good start and energy from Luxembourg so far. Well, bowling right in the right channel.
Ooh, thought about that one, but then pulled his bat back in. Another dot ball. Cope bowling well here.
Utilizing the swing and the shine of the ball, just slightly moving away from the batsman. Not easy to play those.
Well directed. That's a nice line and length. Batsman couldn't do much more than pat it back really there.
And you can sense in T20 when there are 3-4 dots, the batsman can do something, a bit of taking a risk or something, but you never know.
Just plays that one to square leg, but there's no run there. Fantastic start to this over by William Cope. And that one's lofted over the infield nicely for a 4 to cover.
It wasn't actually a bad ball, but as I mentioned that in T20, the margin of error is so small that slightly overpitched, the batsman is already onto it. And there you go with the boundary.
That's, of course, the thing with T20 cricket is you can be building up a really nice bit of pressure with your bowling, and then one really good shot, even to a good ball, can just relieve that pressure. And he's left that ball. And in the end of the over, a good one from Cope, just the 4 from it. 12 for 1 after 3.
Or actually, the pressure is there, and if they can keep the energy level at that for the whole innings, it'll be an interesting contest.
but not out. A second over here. Tosin. Peel turned down. Oh, and he just flicks that one off his leg, just behind square. Run out chance at the bowler's end, but it's a poorly directed throw, and they get through for the single quite easily there.
Say a terrible throw to say the least, but
A slog sweep should be cut off, but they'll. Oh, and that's nicely fielded out on the boundary there by Barker, and they'll just stick with 2. It's a beautiful shot. Bit wide ball, but beautifully spanked away for another 4 runs.
I wonder if next ball will be slightly quicker one, because the loopy ball gives the batsman a little bit of chance to maneuver. So we'll see, but this is the first 6 overs. Anything above the fielder will go to the boundary.
For Belgium. Saran drops the wicket, bowls, and oh! Bales removed there, but seems to have been off the keeper's gloves and back onto the stumps there. So, dot ball. So, oh. So, after 2 overs, we've got a change of bowling from the pavilion end. Dixit comes on to bowl the 5th over.
Dixit is the left arm seamer, a very good swing bowler, and he's been given a task to bowl within the power play. So lots of expectation around him, and we'll see how his left armour goes.
It's a nice start there from Dixit, who this season became club captain of Luxembourg's largest club team, the Optimus Cricket Club.
Yeah, and I think this season was very good for him as a bowler as well. He did very well both as a captain and a bowler, and rallied his troops quite nicely.
Batsman just bats that one just straight back. Dot ball. Nice start here by Dixit. Looks like Dixit's amended his run up a little bit.
Yeah, it is something to do with the T20 and limited overs, where you have to swap and change and do something different if you feel better bowling around the wicket.
Stroked out to cover towards Marcus Cope, who throws it in. They'll just take a single.
I must say, this is where in any over, if you bowl 3 good balls, then you have to concentrate more, because the rest of the 3 balls can go for boundaries, and there you have to be concentrating and focusing.
And that's another wicket down. Mohit Dixit enticing the edge, and Captain Joost Mace with the keeper's gloves taking the wicket there.
I must say, very good bowling change.
What we saw yesterday, of course, was Czech Republic bowling their overs through 4 overs on the spell, whereas Luxembourg tending to give them slightly shorter overs and allowing the batsman not to get too accustomed.
That's absolutely right. T20 is more about tactics as well, that how you destabilize the batsman focus by having different bowlers after 2 overs, and that's a very good move. And again, as we saw in the last game, you cannot just let the other or opposition settle in.
Absolutely. So with the wicket of Cheryl Mehta, brings to the crease the new batsman, Usmani. This batsman, Atif, that Usmani has he seems to not really enjoy wearing his gloves. He'll wear them whilst batting, but then whilst at the non-striker's end and running between wickets, often tends to take them off and hold them in the one hand. As Dixit comes in to bowl his first ball to him, and he turns it off his hip, and that's a poor bit of fielding, really, at square leg. Tried to stop it with his feet, and they'll come back for 2.
Yeah, coming back to the point of gloves in hands, I think it could be a superstition.
Everyone has them. Everyone's got their own little quirks.
But batting-wise, in the earlier game, he actually anchored the inning of Belgium, and when the captain was out cheaply, he actually scored the 50.
Belgium with good depth in their batting order, and that one, just a bit of a thick edge, goes out towards the point gully area, and there's no run. For 2 after 5, or as our sadly departed Australian legend Richie Benno would say, 22 for 2.
Sanitizer break after 5 overs.
Which gives us the opportunity to say that this Luxembourg T20I tournament is sponsored by JTC, Redbridge Recruitment, Tumar, Talisman, and brought to you by the ICC, Luxembourg Ministry of Sport, and the Wolfenange Commune.
Exciting prospect here. Shamik is making his debut and bowling change. Protection on the deep cover, and that is expected to bowl on the offside.
And of course, it's the last over of the power play. And that's a nice start there by Vats. Nice line. The batsman just bats that to a short mid-on, and it's a dot ball.
Yeah, good start. Bit of nerves.
And that one's hit out to the covers, where it's a slightly better bit of fielding there, and it's a dot ball.
The key thing would be for Shamik to concentrate on using the new ball outswingers so that the batsmen that settle in.
Slash there outside the off stump, and dot ball. Good ball, that.
Yeah, indeed. As I said, a bit of nerves, but he's coping very well with that. And of course, home ground, home crowd is always a positive thing to make a debut.
Would have loved more of a crowd, but COVID means we've had to restrict the number of spectators as Vance bowls another ball. And again, that's a dot ball. Been a good start to his first over here.
Indeed, we have good bit of spectators, so I hope to see more when the game progresses.
That's coming into Hosen. And that one slapped away over backward point for 4 runs. That's first really loose ball that from Vats.
Yeah, that's the thing about T20. 4 good balls, one slightly shorter, and then you're being hit because you're facing a good team. They are really keen on not letting go any loose balls. So, and Belgian team is a little bit deceptive. They start slowly, but they progress and keep the momentum very high in the end.
And that one's a little bit more on the pads, and Hosen just flicks it just backward of square, leg side. And they'll come through for a single to the end of the over. 7 for 2 now after 6, so a good power play for Luxembourg.
That is a very good start for Luxembourg. The important thing is to keep the energy level high and concentrate more on where to pitch the balls to these Belgian batters who could be devastating. We saw that throughout the whole tournament.
To bowl his second over here.
Spread yet. Interesting attacking field.
And that one, I didn't catch all of it, so it's just gone out to the close-in cover fielder for a dot ball. I mean, obviously, Luxembourg still have to take some wickets, but after his performance there, you've got to be already thinking ahead to Belgian captain Sherry Butt. And as a bowler yourself, Atif, how do you think Luxembourg have got to go about trying to take his wicket? As the batsman there, Hosen plays a nice little shot down to the long off fielder for a single.
It's an interesting question, Tim. But I mean, as a bowler, you can't be doing too many things to him. You just need to focus on the basics. And if it's a good hit, you can't do much. But you would be expected not to bowl loose balls to him. Make him work on his shots.
And there's Marnie there. Plays a cut shot that makes its way through the infield on the offside, and they'll come back for 2 runs.
And to continue on that, if I would choose to bowl to him, I would just bowling on the offside throughout the whole inning and let him make play shots on the offside. Nothing on the middle or the leg, because his arc is, and he's so strong on the leg side, you can't just bowl on the middle or leg.
And there's an appeal there. Hit him on the pads, but it's not out. Suspicion that it hit him in the pad outside the off stump.
Yeah, his angles.
I mean, I suppose going back to Bart, of course, one of the major things, it's simple, but you've got to take your chances if one comes along. That's a lovely little drive through the infield out to Marcus Cope at extra cover. Little misfield, so they'll come back for 2.
Yeah, I mean, taking chances is key. I mean, you can't afford to give a lifeline to batsmen like Shehryar Butt. So I would be really, as a bowler, not happy if somebody does that.
Dixit comes in, a little bit shorter there. And Marnie just fends that off. Dot ball. Another good over here. And that's 32 for 2 after 7 overs. Luxembourg, are we happy with this start?
Oh, absolutely. Any day. I would take that start.
But to your point earlier, we know that this is Belgium style. They don't particularly worry too much about the power play. They know they've got the hitters down the order who can really take it away from any fielding team.
We can look at it from a different perspective, that the last 10 overs you can afford 100 runs, but it means that the first 10 overs you have to give the minimum runs, which means that you have to concentrate on the first 10 overs, and the last 10 overs, they will be devastating, but 100 should be the maximum.
For a second over. That's a little bit short, and it's pulled away nicely by Hosen for 4 more behind square on the leg side.
First ball hit for a boundary, not a good sign. As a bowler, you have to think now how to contain the next 5. I mean, this is where the bowler mentality comes in, that should I go for a wicket, should I take a chance, or should I just contain now the rest of my over?
With all the matches you've seen this weekend, do you think there's been enough use of the Yorker? Apt Behind square on the offside, and again, fielders trying to stop the ball with their feet, and it's not coming off again. So that's another 4 runs there for Hosen.
Yeah, Tim, I agree. There not been enough Yorkers, but you have to understand with the new ball, it's lighter. It's not easy to bowl Yorkers if in the nets you are not using the new ball. The majority of the players and the bowlers, when they bowl in the nets, they're bowling with the heavier, older ball. So to train for Yorkers in the with the new ball, you have to be training with the new ball. So that's apparently not every time you do.
That's nicely dabbed down. And there's just a single, although it slipped through the keeper there, but well backed up.
It's important either Yorker or a low full toss because you can't go half volley. That would be a nightmare to bowl to these batsmen. But if you can't manage to bowl Yorker, at least low full toss.
So that's a bit short and a bit wide, and it's cut away just behind square all the way out to the boundary, but it's a nice bit of fielding, so they'll only get the single.
The other thing in T20, the bowlers should also, look at it's the back of a hand, slower ball, off spins, leg spins. That could also be deceptive. And I don't know if those many were bowled by all of the bowlers.
There's variations as Vats goes a little bit too wide there, wide on the offside. Behind their bowler here. Been a tricky over this for Luxembourg, better one for Belgium. Bit of indecision between the batsmen there, but they'll come through for a single.
That cost them their captain last game.
Luxembourg would take a run out. They wouldn't mind getting the captain run out again later in this innings.
But you can't plan a run out, can you?
Unfortunately not. Would that you could. Would that you could.
And having looked at it, our batsman getting run out on a free hit was something unseen before.
Or by Vats to end the over. And at the end of the over, the score is... So that's 44 for 3, 2 off 9. Played back to the bowler. Wasn't a chance of a caught and bowled, but nice bit of bowling there by Dixon.
Tim, something looking at the body language of the batsman, I can sense that they are now getting into their zone of trying to lift the run rate.
Beautifully played by Hosen through the leg side, all the way along the floor for 4 runs.
Interesting, you saw that the ball was not on the leg side, and still they managed to use their flick of the wrist to create that gap.
Yep, that was beautifully played by the batsman. And that one's gone up in the air. Could be a chance. I think it's going to fall safe, unfortunately. It does. And they'll come through just for a single.
Fortunately for Belgians.
So Usmani on strike, and that's a beautiful bit of bowling. They're asking for the caught behind, but umpire Ben Lockheed having none of it.
That was outside the line of wickets, so not given.
It's been a good spell here from Dixit as he searches for another wicket for Luxembourg. And
Since the arms were just about to go, but the length was not there, which is interesting to watch.
that one's down the leg side. It's going to be called a wide.
Others say he got away with that one because there is no protection on the fine leg.
50 up for Belgium with that extra. And he plays that one quite late. Nicely played, just out into the offside for a single.
Bit of a partnership going on there.
Building up a little bit of a foundation. They'll look to accelerate. So 51 for 2 after 9. Wicketkeeper skipper Joost Mace signalling for the helmet to be brought out, suggesting we're going to have a bit more spin. And indeed, Marcus Cope limbering up at the Mark Fitzgerald bridge end.
Marcus had a very good tournament so far, so a lot of expectations around him.
Marcus Cope coming up to bowl his first delivery of this match to Usmani. And Usmani tries to just play that off his hip, but doesn't time it right, and it just drops down in front of him for dot ball. Times it a bit better this time, and he plays it off the hip behind square. They're coming back for a second, and and there's a chance of an overthrow, but unfortunately, Usmani, in such an effort to try to get back for that second, overran and wasn't able to get back for a third.
A lot happening there. Belgium will be looking to score 100 of the last 10, 11 overs now.
And he's just dabbed that one out as the offside. They'll have a go. And I think the keeper took that off with gloves rather than ball. So single adds to the score for Usmani.
And again, coming back to the last 10 overs, this is where the game will be decided, because we have seen so many times in the games against Belgium that first 10 overs, yeah, you could be well over top, but in the last 10 overs, they could be a devastating opposition.
Mashed back to long off, just for a single. It's been a decent start by Cope here. Coming around the wicket now to Usmani, and that one again just played off the hip, just behind square on the leg side for another single.
Good intelligent bowling, wearing his length there. He knows that if it's going to be slightly over pitch, it's going to be in their arc.
And that one's gone up. That could be a chance. Haynes underneath it, and he takes it. That's a lovely bit of bowling and a very good piece of fielding there. Caught by Haynes, and that's the end of Hosen. 3rd wicket down for Belgium. Six for 3. End of the 10th over. Belgian skipper Butt comes to the crease. Luxembourg will now really have to up their game, take the chance if it comes along. And I'm sure on the other side, Butt will be hoping to get his eye in a bit. That's what he's done each game so far. Just try to get his eye in, and then he'll look to explode.
And I must compliment the last over. Marcus bowled really good there, wearing his pace, wearing his length, making sure the batsman is not set in, and a over without a boundary and a wicket. What a wonderful over that was.
And a change of bowler at the pavilion end. Mohit Dixit bowling a nice 3 overs, but he's been replaced now by Vikram Vij. And he's going to be bowling to Osmani. So really this is 2 of Belgium's very best batsmen here. So this is going to be a key part of the match.
And one of our best bowler as well. I mean, Vikram, you can never underestimate his variations. So looking forward to this contest.
So batsmen having to change ends after they had crossed in the wicket at the end of the last over. So Belgian skipper Butt going to be on strike for his first ball, facing the first ball from Vij. That's nicely bowled. Good line and length. And Butt straight away getting a run single.
A bit long run up than I would like.
They're smearing that one over towards the mid-wicket cow corner boundary for 4.
Yeah, interesting shot there. It was almost a sweep, I think, but the ball was slow, so he picked it up very early from his hand.
So Vij looking to respond here. And that one's a little bit wide on the legs, on the offside. Cut to point, but well fielded for a dot ball.
I mean, this is the line one should keep bowling in T20s outside of. It is difficult to put it away. So the margin of error is with the bowler is so low that you can't afford to bowl middle and leg. So outside off is your best bet.
That one's a little bit straighter, and again, plays it nice off his hip into the leg side for a single. Just keeping the scoreboard ticking over, the Belgian pair. Butt on strike. And he's tried to cut that one, not got all of it, and as a result, they'll make it through for a single. And that one's a little bit too wide on the offside there. And that's another extra. Another one to sundries. So again, that one a little bit too wide again on the offside, and that one is going to go all the way for 5 wides. Vig just needing to recalibrate the radar here. Can't really afford to be giving the Belgians 5 extras.
No, he bowls with lovely variations, does VJ, but sometimes it doesn't always work for us, does it?
That's a slightly better ball and a slight misfield. So Belgium will come back for the second.
That's an unfortunate misfield.
So ended the over there. So 71 for 3 after 11. 15 runs coming off that over. Bit of an expensive one there, Mikey.
Yeah, and it's going to be Marcus Cope to continue from the bridge end.
Oh, he made
Hairband in place.
he made a good start with that first over. Got an important wicket.
He bowled very, very well. He bowls with he thinks about his bowling and he varies his pace very subtly, and he uses the width of the crease as well. And all those things can make a difference to the line of the ball, and it's just what you need to make the difference between a 6 and a miss hit, as we saw. But this is the man who can do the 6 rather than the miss hit most of the time. So let's see. Marcus is about to bowl.
That's right in the arc of this batsman, unfortunately, and that is a big
Beautiful
6
shot. That's not a slog. That's just a beautifully hit shot, straight out the middle of the bat.
It wasn't a bad ball.
Wasn't a bad ball. It breaks your heart. It's a good ball. But the batsman is sailing over the fielder who's out there for that shot. And what can you do except stand and admire it?
As a bowler, Marcus is going to have to just keep his head here, not worry about that. This is a very good batsman, and that's going to happen. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing.
That's another good ball. Nice little loop on that ball.
But cuts that one out to point on the boundary, and they'll just take the single, which brings Osmani back on strike.
And there's a bit of a breeze blowing into our backs here, which will help Marcus because he's bowling into that breeze, and that'll just hold the ball up a little bit, perhaps. That's a nice ball again, and it's just going to be 1 run. Good reply to the big hit.
Brings Butt back on strike for Belgium. You do feel that the Belgians are just thinking soon could be the time to really explode. As Cope comes up, and that one is...
He didn't quite get that one.
He didn't, but he's caught it well enough for a single. So decent over this by Cope, despite that 6 first ball.
Yep. No, he's bowled well. And that last shot wasn't timed, and that's what you're hoping for as a bowler.
And Osmani cuts that one out in front of square on the offside. Think about 2, but they'll
good throw
for the 1.
Excellent return. Kept his body behind the ball, which you must do on this outfield at the moment, because we've said on several occasions it's really quite bouncy out there because of we've had such a dry period. The ground is not flat or moist.
Change of approach here for Cope. He's going to be bowling around the wicket to Buns. And he's enticed a bit of a top edge there, but
it's going to go away for 4, but it's just what you want to be doing as a bowler. Miss hit.
Yep, I don't think Cope's going to be too worried about that shot if he can get that again.
12 or 13 off the over, but unfortunately, that was well bowled.
So that's 85 for 3 off 12. Some Some very pensive bowling there from Cope. Thought about it, changed the line of attack.
Yeah, very nice. But as we've seen, Sherry Butt has the ability just to hit a very fine 6.
Yep, were it not for that 6 on the first ball, we would be talking about a very different score for that over.
I had the enormous pleasure once I was on holiday in Grenada and the CPL was on, and I watched Chris Gale score 100, and he just seemed to block the ball or nurdle the ball away for 1 or whack a 6, depending on how he felt. It was awesome batting.
Bridge bowling to Osmani, and a bit of a wafty cut attempt there by Osmani. Didn't really see much foot movement there, and as a result, it's dot ball.
Yeah, VJ off his long run up. He does bowl a shorter style too, very effectively.
And that one is straight and missed time, so just drops in front of him again. But Sherry Butt very quick off the mark to call him through for a quick single there. Is just played behind square nicely, and they'll come back for 2. Look at bowls, and that is slapped for 4. 1 bounce 4 there. Big hit there by Osmani. Oh, it was indeed. Apologies, correction. I think a flailing
That was
cut for 4.
Skipper Butt. When he hits the ball, it stays hit. And he's got his eye in now as well. He'll be wanting to open up. And it's nicely played.
That one, and a nice bit of fielding there. Another dot ball. You could hear the effort in that ball from Vikram there.
Vic. Yes. Be interesting to see if Skipper Meese brings Cope back on at the next over. We think he will here, but could be an interesting contest if he does, because Salman Butt will be wanting to. Sherry Butt will be wanting to prove something, I think. We'll see. Anyway, Vic comes into bowl now.
Oh, cut just in front of the point fielder, and it's going to be intercepted on the boundary, but they'll come back for 2.
Had to reach for that one. That concludes the over, does it? Yes, and it will be Marcus Cope to continue from the bridge end.
So 94 for 3 at the end of the 13th over. Belgium building a little foundation for themselves here to explode from.
Yep.
And Mace taking the helmet, so we're going to have another over from Marcus Cope, as we thought, which I think is a good idea, because
Yep, I agree.
little bit less pace, so these 2 batsmen are going to have to generate their own, more of a chance of top edge and potential catch opportunity. Bowled well in his first 2 overs.
But Belgian batsman, I think, will go after him now.
Osmani on strike. He charges down, and that's another 6 there.
straight shot right back over the stumps almost. And just as we thought, they're going to go for it this over.
Yep.
But that's exactly where you might get that catch.
And
which
that brings
is
up the hundreds for
what
Belgium.
Luxembourg are hoping for.
Interestingly, yesterday, on 2 occasions, we saw stumpings off of wide balls, and that's something that the Luxembourg bowler and keeper should be thinking about. Usmani charged there, and if Marcus spots it early enough, he should look to
Just
throw it
adjust
out
his line.
wide.
Yep. Anyway, second ball.
And that's cut this time, and there's a diving attempt at a catch, but to
Good
no
effort.
avail, and they'll come back for 2.
That's 8 off 2 balls. Support for the bowler from the field. And the spectators. Here comes number 3. And it's well bowled, and it's whipped away to the leg side. It should just be a single to deep square leg.
It is, so that brings Butt back on strike here. So is Marcus going